Welcome. You're listening to the I'm Wired to Inspire podcast, creatively engineered by Nicole, the inspiration specialist. I'm Wired to Inspire is a powerfully packed 5-minute podcast filled with inspiration and encouragement to get you through your day. It's designed to inspire you to live your authentic purpose. Now stay tuned for your host, Nicole, the inspiration specialist, on today's episode of I'm Wired to Inspire.
Hey everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today on my podcast. I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm not going to keep y'all too long today, but I just wanted to run it to you about another post. It seems like on Tuesday when we talked and it was Chop It Up Tuesdays, and Thursday is very similar. I just kind of run it about different topics. For some reason this week I wanted to highlight these things that I posted because it just seemed to be very heavy in my spirit. But y'all, there was just this one that I really want to talk to you guys about because I just feel in my spirit, and I think it too. Like, this has been on my mind, it's been in my heart, it's been in my spirit. So I literally have been feeling this across the board. But I'm going to read this meme to you because I just think that the time is now for us to really get ahead of the things that's been keeping us away from the things that God has for us. So it says, get married before you're 30, but there's a line between it that says, when you're really ready. Retire with 5 million instead retire with loads of memories. Become an entrepreneur? No, become an influencer. Fall in love with someone beautiful? No, fall in love with inner beauty. Make my parents proud of how much I earn? No, make my parents proud of how happy I am. Make many friends versus make real friends. Find happiness in the luxury versus find happiness in the ordinary. And lastly, find someone who you can live with versus someone you can't live without. I thought that this was a really, really dope sentiment, and I really appreciated it because I feel like, y'all, the way God is doing things now, in order for us to get any of the things that are really going to be pleasing to Him, we have to really surrender to Him. And a part of that surrender sometimes, y'all, is when you have to look at the situation for what it is. And I need you to ask yourself, are you stressing yourself out to be married before you're 30? Or are you 40 and you're still not married and don't have the things that you should have? And you really feeling like everybody's looking at you? You know, like, you have to figure out what all of this means for you. Why, if that's the case, are you so worried about what other people are thinking? You have to do things when you're ready. There's such a thing in Ecclesiastes. It talks about a time and a season. There's a scripture on that. And God does things in times and seasons. And you have to know, y'all, when God makes sure that you're ready, your time of being ready may not be when you're a certain age. It may not be with who people think you should be with. It may not look like what you thought it was going to look like, because it has to be done in God's time, and it has to be decent and in order. And in order for that to happen, you have to figure out what that's going to look like for you. And when I say that, I mean simply, if you're more concerned about when God wants you to do it, you'll be eternally grateful and full of peace and joy. If you do it when you want to do it and how you want to do it, you'll be happy for a little bit. But trust me, you'll plummet and you'll start feeling a grieving in your spirit because you are not doing things the natural way. You're not doing things the way God is orchestrating them for you. So it is so important. It's imperative that you take time out now to really start to ask God, am I putting too much weight on what other people are thinking of me? Am I putting too much weight on the time factor? Am I driving myself crazy because I don't have the promotion, or I don't have the money, or my business flop, or my accounts are in the red? Why are these things stressing you and you are not letting God take the wheel? This is not the time for that. And another thing, when we think about being an entrepreneur, and we think about being an influencer, and we think about what the world is like now. Now, yeah, I think we should become entrepreneurs. Now, that's the only one I feel like, well, I get it, but I don't think that every entrepreneur is necessarily an influencer, and certainly every influencer is not an entrepreneur. So for that one, for me, I would just say that I understand both of those, and I'm in agreement with both of those actually, versus one being better than the other. But I do believe the premise is, if you are going to be able to set up a business or function in a way where you can get people's attention, then take that time and attention to pour good back into the world. Influence them to Christ, influence them to good things, influence them to work and to do the things that maybe they didn't think about before. And it's because of your influence. It's because of your get up and go. It's because of your, like the Jewish people say, your chutzpah. It's because you're doing these things. It will allow you to help them see their dreams come to pass as well. And that's what it's all about, y'all. We want to pay it forward. We want to do things that bless other people so that they can bless other people. And we keep that thing going and going and going and going. It is so amazing when you genuinely focus everything on the Lord. You focus everything on what He wants you to do. You are no longer inundated in what it means to fall in love. There's so many people falling in love with somebody beautiful who looks good, and you're not falling in love with inner beauty. I think what ends up happening a lot of times too, y'all, the reality of it is you have to be attracted to a person. That's the reality of it. I'm not about to sit up here and tell you no wooden nickels. Like, that's not the play. You have to be attracted to a person. Now, some people, they beg to differ. They say God will send you somebody unattractive, but he's still your person, she your person. I don't believe none of that either, because I believe God will give you the desires of your heart. So I do believe that. Now, we all know that there's some expectations are, hey, they're just what they are. But at the same time, I just believe when it comes to this, sometimes people just get so caught up in how somebody looks, they convince themselves that they love their inner beauty, and they don't love that either. And I think mostly we love the idea of people and not actually who people are. So I thought that was good too. And also it says make real friends versus making many friends. Y'all, listen, I have learned it is always about quality over quantity any day, because you can get a lot more done with a small group that you can trust than with a million hands and they messing up everything you got going on. And I don't know, I just felt like that was prophetic for somebody. You got to do a friend cleanse. Comb through and see who belongs. Shake the tree. See who needs to go. Because sometimes God will hold things up for us because there are too many hands around, and he knows that if he dropped it and the overflow comes, they're going to get something that they're not worthy of, that God does not see fit for them to have, and they'll get it through you. So the Lord will mess up those friendships. He'll freeze things. He'll pause things because he does not want them to have a say-so in a blessing that he's going to give to you. So make sure you pay attention to that. And then next, it talks about finding happiness and luxury. Yes, we all love fine things and nice things. But you know what? It's the miracle in the simplicity and the blessing of the ordinary. Because y'all, I say it all the time. There's simplicity. There's perfection in simplicity. You will find that when things are ordinary, when things are simple and plain, when things are just the way that they should be, there is a peace about that. There is something amazing about that. And when the luxury comes and you add the luxury, that's just more of an added blessing. That's more value added. But when you seek to take the things that God gives you in its rarest, simplest form, it allows you to appreciate him not only on a deeper level, but it also encourages people who may not be in a position of luxury. There's some people who don't even know to think that they could have luxury. People are not understanding that once you transform by the renewing of your mind, the sky is the limit. And there are still people to this day, believe it or not. You may not be one of them, but there are people who don't even know how to think high for themselves, y'all. That's why it is so important that you take the time out to really assess what's popping with you right now. Where is your stress coming from? Is it because you don't want people to look at you crazy? Is it because you think you can't take care of your family? Let God take care of your family. I'm not saying you don't pray and don't work. I'm not saying don't do the things that you need to sustain your household. But listen, there are going to be some things that happen where you got to let God take care of it. Sometimes you just got to throw your hands up and say, I don't have it. I've done what he told me to do and I still don't have it. So that's why I encourage you. It would behoove you guys to make sure that you keep your focus on what it is God is telling you to do in this hour, because it's going to change your life. It is going to change your life. And the last one is simply find someone whom you can't live without. There are going to be people that come across your path that you look forward to the prospect of living with them. But then it's going to be that one person that comes along and you're going to know, no matter what I do or how far I go in my life, I really can't see them not in my life. And when you have that experience, when you have that epiphany, that's when you know you found that someone special that God has ordained for you to be with. So I want to encourage you, if you haven't felt that feeling yet, just hold on. It's coming. If it is your calling, and if it's a part of the ministry that God has for you, for the ministry of marriage, to be married, and you and your husband are going to be a power couple, making things happen in the earth together, and it's going to add value to the kingdom. It's going to be better for two to be better than one. Then the Lord is going to send that for you. And trust me when I tell you, he is going to do it in his divine time. I'm believing God. Believe God with me. I know he's going to do it for you. I know he's going to do it for all of us if it's truly what he wants for us and it truly matches our desires. So I hope you guys are blessed today. We just chopped it up today. Just a little food for thought. And I pray that you can pass this on, and make sure you do this for me. If nothing else, take the time to love and care about yourself, to assess your life and say, this is what works and this is what's not working. I can account most of my stress to this. I can account most of my peace to that. And I want you to make sure you do the pros and cons, and make sure when you remix things and move things around, if you need to, make sure you end up in a place of peace and joy versus in a place of pleasing other people and happiness. Focus on the joy of the Lord. Focus on the joy that never ends, and focus on the peace that surpasses all understanding. I'm wired to inspire. I hope you are too.
Thanks for listening to I'm Wired to Inspire podcast at I'mWiredToInspire.com. If you enjoyed the show, spread the word, and be sure to hit the 5-star rating on iTunes. For more information on this podcast and inspirational products and services, log on to the inspirationspecialist.life or I'mWiredToInspire.com. And remember to live your authentic purpose. Thanks again, and see you next time.